Guys, I'm here with Dave Teresi, Mr. Energy.
Oh, yeah, I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for having me. And I'm
Oh, we're looking this for a 6-something. That's excited you're here. It's going to be a ton of fun. Great weather.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited about this right here. All right, guys, welcome to the Drag and Drive Show presented by Summit Racing for May 24th, 2023. Dude, this is episode 21. I can't believe it. We are cranking this stuff out. This is a weekly Wednesday night live stream. We call this the long format show because we have a Saturday morning episode at 9 a.m. Eastern that is 30 minutes, hard hitting, all that kind of stuff. Tonight, we're talking to Mick Apps of the Road Trip Drag Challenge in Australia. That's right. It is 10 a.m. his time, 7 p.m. or Central our time, 8 p.m. Eastern here. So thank you for coming in. We appreciate you guys being here. My name is Mike Narks. I run dragandrive.com, the historical site for all the historical data for Drag and Drive racing and a big part of the Drag and Drive addiction group. Eric, who are you, bud?
I am Eric White. I am your co-host for the Drag and Drive Show and Drag and Drive News. I help produce the podcast, so the audio version of these shows, and I run 815 LSX Swaps and Motorsports Paparazzi.
Dude, that's a mouthful. You are a busy guy. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you tonight, we are going to have a shorter show. We're only having one guest on tonight, which is obviously Mick, like we said earlier, because my mom surprised us and came into town unexpectedly. So we're excited to do that. So we're going to run and have dinner with her and all that kind of stuff. So let's get to this thing so we can get some dinner.
You bet. So we want to remind everybody that, again, we are doing this show as an audio podcast. I am uploading once a week. I am about a week behind right now, so I haven't got last week's episode edited yet. And because I was at NHRA this weekend and my son is graduating this weekend, I'm going to fall a little bit behind, but I'm going to work to get those out as soon as I can. So they are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Tell your Alexa, play Drag and Drive Addiction Podcast, and you will get the latest episode.
That's right, dude. Thank you for all the hard work on that. I have actually been listening to a few of them, which is weird hearing your own voice within that. So appreciate all the editing you do. There is some things that we do that are video centric that obviously wouldn't play well on the audio version. So thank you for putting those together. And if you guys have been around for a little while, you know, we were running a pre-order for the Parking Lot Beers and Trailer Burnouts shirts that Eric designed after coming to the circuit, his first Drag and Drive event to spend the entire weekend at. Those shirts should be ready by June 2nd. We said they would ship in early June. Well, that kind of creates an issue because I'll be at Autocross Week. So my plan is to get all of the labels and bags ready for this merch. And if they do not come in until I am on Autocross Week, maybe I can talk my wife and daughters into packing some envelopes and getting those mailed out to you guys. So thank you very much. Appreciate everybody purchasing those shirts. That is that's a big swing towards us, you know, putting more content and more, I don't know, eyes out in the world to have these special one-off shirts that you guys will see. So it's going to be kind of neat. I think as time goes on, as we run out these little, I don't know, what do you call them? Pre-sale orders or specialty shirts. I don't know what we're going to call these moving forward, but I think it'll be neat to see these shirts 2 or 3 years from now. And we'll be like, oh man, that was that first run that we had. So thank you to everybody that purchased those. Appreciate that. And they'll be on their way pretty soon. Well, let's get the show started with thanking one of our sponsors, Summit Racing. Those guys are awesome. And then we'll get into what I found on Summit Racing this week.
What would you do with a $255 Summit Racing gift card? Why just think about a Summit Racing gift card when you can spend it? We're giving you the opportunity to win a $255 gift card with our limited time YouTube anniversary giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe to our page, click that notification bell, and comment on the official giveaway post on our YouTube channel. We'll randomly draw the winner from our subscribers. Be sure to check the description for terms, rules, and conditions. Why 255? Because Summit Racing is celebrating 55 years in 2023, and $55 just isn't enough. Subscribe, punch that notification bell, and comment for your chance to win. Good luck.
All right, guys. Thanks again to Summit Racing. Appreciate them being a big partner of the channel. Obviously, y'all, I want to talk about, I've got the wrong one pulled up there. How is this possible? Hold on just a second. Let me take this off. I think I do this every week, don't I? I have it on the wrong screen.
Destroyer's telling us a sleeve delete's going to happen.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
I do love a good sleeveless shirt. And when I was at the NHRA event, I really wished our Drag and Drive shirts were sleeveless. But
that's right. You mean like this one right here?
Yep,
Sure.
yep. Our new Summit ones, but my arms would have got a little more burnt than they already did, probably. So
that's awesome. Well, guys, what I found this week is a Moser 12-bolt spool. I know guys need this. Lockers are a lot of fun, or limited slips are a lot of fun. But listen, when it comes down to traction, you got to have something that make sure is going to be there every single time, and this is the way to do that. So, $199. I figured that was pretty cheap. There's only 5 left in stock. It's $50 savings there. And then did it change to the nightlight here? Can you see that?
Nope.
Here we go. How about this one?
Yep, I see it now.
I know. I don't even know how I found this. I think I was looking up like goofy products or novelty stuff, but I thought these would be pretty fun, for a kid or maybe an adult that is scared of the dark. But I thought it was pretty neat. They have obviously a big block Chevrolet, and then they have a 426 Hemi. So you can't get it's a nightlight. Be great in the hallway if your wife will let you put that in there. And then of course, if you do not know it yet, guys, you can purchase your Summit, or you can purchase your Drag and Drive Addiction shirts right on Summit. These are officially licensed Drag and Drive Addiction, Drag and Drive merch right here on Summit. So throw these into your next order on summitracing.com. Sweet. That was fast, man. We were running through that pretty quick. I see Mick is in the back. Dude, we see you. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us fine. Yep, he's got a thumbs up. I'm excited to have him on tonight. I think that's going to be a great guest, and a lot of really neat insight into the Australian Drag and Drive community and what all that does. Obviously, you guys can support the channel with. We now have a membership opportunity of $4.99 a month that is going to give you a lot more behind the scenes stuff, and that is going to be a lot more relevant in the coming months. We're not going to get into that. We're going to make a big announcement on June 2nd. That'll talk about some of the changes that are coming to the channel. And then obviously you can put in super chats tonight and super stickers, and all that goes to help, cover the cost and expenses of going to like King of the Open Road this weekend, or, Eric going to the NHRA event, or any of the other 8 Drag and Drive events that we are attending this year. So all of that helps with that stuff. Well, dude, you got to tell us a little bit about, obviously went to the NHRA Route 66 event. With the Drag and Drive exhibition. That was kind of cool. So I figured we would talk a little bit about who was there, who raced, who won, and then what they ran, and kind of go from there and kind of give us your thoughts on everything that you saw.
Yeah, so I was only there on Sunday, so they did race Friday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
As far as who was there, Bryant Goldstone, Clint Sadowski, Rick Trunkett, Bob Hess Jr., Clark Rosenstengel, Alex Taylor, Steve Morris, and Tom Bailey. So those were the 6 that were a part of the Drag and Drive exhibition.
Yep. And then sadly, Steve Morris broke in the burnout, his first burnout of the weekend. That was sad if you watched any of his videos. I think Tom Bailey struggled quite a bit. Looking at the passes that were made over the weekend, there was not much. There was not anything good. I don't think he wrote home to anybody about. I will say the guys that that came out swinging that I saw from my vantage point sitting at home was Bryant Goldstone laid down his fastest pass in that car ever, a 662 with a 4. He didn't beat his best mile an hour, but he did run 212. So that's pretty awesome there. Clint Sadowski ran a slew of 770s. Rick Trunkett, I think, ran some 770s, maybe even a 760. I know Bob Hess ran some. Go ahead.
I think Rick, if I remember right, ran his first 4 in the 8th.
Yeah, that's right. I think I saw Jimmy Montaigne make that post.
Yep.
So that's pretty awesome there. I think it was like a 480 or something, 487 or something crazy like that. Yeah, Clint Sadowski put down some numbers. Bob Hess Jr., Clark Rosenstengel, I think made a decent pass or two, but I don't think he had anything to write home about. Alex Taylor went low 7s consistently at 200 plus. And then Bryant Goldstone ended up winning the whole thing. So congratulations to him. It's kind of crazy based on what I heard and saw in other people's videos was that Bryant and Alex both ran for the finals and both cars shut off. Is that right?
Yeah.
They go past leave and the car shuts off.
Yep. So I think if I remember right, Bryant ran like a 14-second pass or something to win.
Yeah.
And Alex was like a 30-something second pass. So they both shut off. Bryant was out ahead, was able to get his going again and finish. I think Alex had to stop, park hers, and get it restarted. But she ran a 30-something second pass, but it was still like well over 100 miles an hour. So it was kind of wild to see that.
So she was on it. She wasn't just cruising down. She was trying to figure it out. Yeah, that's pretty wild. You know, she struggled with that the end of last season with some stuff, and then it happened once or twice at sick week. But I think they pretty much had it lined out by the end of the week, and looks like it's raising its head again. So sadly, but congratulations to Bryant on 1, a personal best, and then 2, winning that event. I mean, it's a big deal. He went out, laid down some real passes. I think he had another 7-second pass or something like that. I mean, they've really only had that car back together just for a few months. They had it at Drag Week last year, 2022, and that was its first outing. It had only been together for, I think, a couple days with no hits on. I think they went into Drag Week completely untested. So pretty awesome to see it out and being that good out of the gate. I can only imagine what is going to happen with that car as we move through the season. So
yeah, it was a ton of fun. I obviously had my Summit Drag and Drive gear on. Heard a couple people comment on it. One guy was kind of asking, or he didn't ask, he had mentioned they must have these for sale here. And I kind of like turned around. I was like, hey, not for sale here, but you can get it at Summit.
Yep.
Also, I was checking out Bob Hess's car, and he noticed it, came over. So I got to meet him for the first time. That was kind of
awesome.
cool. We sparked up a conversation, and we're just chatting a little bit. And in the stands, when Bailey ran, they were, commenting on how it's a pro mod essentially, right? That he drives on the street. And the guy next to me is like, no way. There's no way he drives it on the street. So, of course I had to jump in and go, no, he does.
Had to educate him.
Yeah. All these guys do. I've seen it, so it was cool. There was a lot of people there, a lot of diehard NHRA people there. So hopefully with this exhibition, we kind of brought some new people into the sport and kind of see that, hey, these guys drive their cars too. And in fact, Bryant was the first race in the finals since they ran it. I think it was like 3:15 or something. So when they did the awards, he was the first car in line, and he was the first one up on the stage. So it was really cool. Thanks again to Howard's Cam for getting us the tickets to get in. Unfortunately, when I was there, their car did not run at all. I'm not sure what happened. The only picture I got was of just the body sitting on the ground. And then when I went back into the pits later to try to talk to somebody, get some more pictures, they were already loaded up. Tent was down, trailer was closed up, and everything. So,
and Chris King was the driver of that, and also put that whole team together and put the whole scenario together for him to run a few races this season. He's a firefighter. I listened to his interview, I think, on the Wes Buck show the other day, or a Monday Morning Racer, one of the two. Super cool story. Wanted to race, gets to now, and is still a fireman. So that's kind of where the number comes from. It's a pretty neat story. You know, we're not big NHRA guys around here. We're drag and drive folks, so I don't follow that too much. But as we ease off into this, doing this more and more, obviously they cross paths. So let's talk about Drag and Drive World Champion update. Michael Westberg message back. If you were watching last week, I was hinting that he may have the car ready to go for Street Week. He did message back and say that he is pushing very, very hard to have the car done by Street Week Sweden, which is in 45 days. So pretty wild that he sold the S10 and is now on this new car and has a pretty good chance of getting it done. And I don't think the powertrain went with the S10, so I think he still has all that stuff. So he would, it would be a matter of wiring this car to what works for his setup and everything like that. And if you look in the picture, you can kind of see an intake. I'll have to look at the intake that he had on the S10. Maybe that is the same one. I don't know. But first gen Pro Mod Camaros generally hold top spots. So it'll be interesting to see if this car can do that for him as well. And obviously he's one of the leaders of the Drag and Drive World Champion right now. So if he can perform well in Sweden, then obviously he'll take those points from resetting records and, all that kind of stuff that would go along with winning an event, the extra 7 points for a class win, if he can pull that off, things like that. So he's got to get some testing. 45 days is not very much testing to put into a brand new car. And then Devin Vanderhoof has been posting that he's racing at six summer and then plans to back up 3 more weeks and race at Midwest Drags as well. So, he has a real opportunity to take first place by the time we get to Midwest Drags, which would be kind of interesting. Just to kind of stay on this topic for a second. Now you think about it, we may not even, the racer that will win may have not even raced yet.
Right.
You may be looking at somebody that comes swinging for both Rocky Mountain events and then hits Drag Week or something. We could have a really interesting momentum push here as we get through the middle of summer, and this thing really kind of takes up some steam, because that's one thing we haven't seen yet, because we've really only had one event so far, one national level event. So
did Devin say if he is going to be driving at those events, or?
Well, I hope he puts Jordan in it, because that's the key. It's a racer driven world champion. It's not a car driven world champion. So it is based on racers. So for them to qualify for points, Jordan Tuck will need to drive that car, or Devin can do it and lay down, get his points for Devin Vanderhoof driving, and then, build his points. So then you got to think, is that car going to go to 6 drag and drive events this year?
Right.
Pretty impressive. So, let's talk about countdown to the shows.
Real quick here,
Yep.
Bill is saying, does Westberg have to come back to US for an event to win the award?
I don't think there is another national level. Well, I know there's not another national level Swedish or European event. So yes, he would have to come back to the States, but he's typically done Drag Week the last few years. So even if he has to borrow a car, I think we would probably still see him, especially if he is in real contention for it. I think he is a competitor through and through and would want to push for that. So he's been over for 2 or 3 events a year before, so it wouldn't be something new for him to come over. So let's talk about events, dude. So event countdown, we are going to do things a little different. We are going to tell you how many days, because I want you guys to sweat just a little bit. All right. So for the next, this is right at 2 months, we have all of these events listed below. So in 2 days, you have the Road Trip Drag Challenge number 1, which is in Queensland, Australia. We'll have Mick on here shortly. It's May 26th to 28th. You have 3 days from now, King of the Open Road, May 27th and 28th at Thunder Valley, which obviously I'm going to. We'll have the merch booth out, and Alex Garcia, our racing teammate, she is out. She'll be getting pictures and racing, so she's going to find out how hard it is to be a content creator and racer. In 11 days, you have 6 Summer coming up, Cordova Dragway, June 4th through 9th. 18 days from now is Alaska Speed Week. Now, here's what's cool. I just learned this a little bit ago. Chris Story is doing 6 Summer and leaving a few days early to jump in the car with somebody and going to Alaska Speed Week. The person that he's jumping in the car with is driving from Texas to Alaska in the race car. So it's kind of exciting. We may push to maybe have them on next week. I think that would be a fun thing. I'll talk to Chris about it this weekend at King of the Open Road.
Yeah, can we get a GoPro in that car for that trip?
Dude,
There's got to be some good content in there.
I'll say I don't think you have enough SD cards. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. I would imagine that the Facebook user making comments there is Alex Garcia saying she's going to be taking photos in full race gear, so helmet on, race suit, out there snapping pictures, jumping in the car, making passes. So she's racing in the 9.0 class. Bill Elkin says that Chris Story is killing it. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So 23 days from now, Street Weekend UK, June 16th through 18th. Same weekend you have, or same time frame you have, is 22 days from now. You have BC Drag It Challenge in British Columbia, June 15th through 19th. 31 days from now, are you getting a sense here that there's stuff happening? Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0, June 24th through 30th. You've got 45 days, like we talked earlier, for Street Week Sweden. That is July 8th through 15th. Now, during that same time, 47 days from now, we're going to be racing at Summit Racing Midwest Drags, July 10th through 14th at Virginia Motorsports Park. I will tell you there are a few spots available, so jump in there. Let's have some fun. I'm going to be pit announcing and probably spend a little bit of time in the tower with Josh Castle as well.
Yep. I think I'll be there too, the plan. So
bring it on, bud. Me and you may have to rent a car and just drive around. I don't know. We're gonna have to have some fun.
Don't you threaten me.
Yeah. And then that same weekend that Midwest Drags ends, we have Heads Up Hustle, Central Illinois Streetcar Shootout and Stroll, and the Road Trip Drag Challenge #2. So we have Virginia Motorsports Park in Richmond, Virginia. You have Milan, Michigan with an event. You have Havana, Illinois, and then you have back in Australia. Same weekend. So it ought to be pretty intense to go through all of the data once I am able to sort that stuff. And obviously during that time, we're going to be going live probably almost daily with a daily dose of Drag and Drive because there's so many events that are happening at the same time. So that should be pretty fun. And then 60 days from now to end out July, we're going to have Miles of Mayhem in Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, July 23rd through 28th. So I'm in the air on Midwest. So what are you talking about? You're in the air. Come on, man. Whoever you are, Facebook user, get in there. Let's go. I think it'll be fun. Virginia Motorsports Park is the fastest track in Drag and Drive history. We are returning there. Tyler Crossnow is handling prep there. So that's day 1 and day 4 for Virginia Motorsports Park. Then we go to Atco and Cecil Dragway. So there should be some big time stuff laid down at Summit Racing Midwest Drags. Doc McIntyre's coming out. That's his second event for the year for the what he calls the perfect points event, coming out to reset a record in the class, set an ET record, and reset a mile per hour record. Get you those additional points that he's shooting for to take the C-Red Camaro into the world's first ever Drag and Drive World Champion. So guys, if you were counting, that's 13 events in 9 weeks. That's a lot. So most we've ever seen. We're going to have more events on a weekend than we've ever had in the history of Drag and Drive. And then doing the math, and I don't know how to word this, but there will be 59 days of Drag and Drive racers making passes in the next 57 days. However that math works, right? There's around the world, there's 59 tracks that are going to be affected by Drag and Drive racers. And that is why I've been saying Drag and Drive racing is saving drag racing, because guys, well, listen, you hear me say it all the time, but I'm going to say it one last time tonight. I'll say it again next week too. We haven't seen the bump from this yet. We have not seen the even beginnings of what is going to happen at the end of the 60 days. By the end of this, we're going to have, you got to think there's probably 1,000 or 1,200 people that will have raced at a drag and drive event by the end of July. That is more than we had in 2022, or almost as many as we had in 2022, and more than we had in 2021. So absolutely insane. If you want to catch up on the list, the full list of drag and drive events, go to draganddrive.com/news, and you'll see it in the blog post. It's 2 or 3 down. So what do we got Sport about here talking about?
Yeah, he said he unfortunately just bowed out of Six Summer,
Oh,
just
man.
not in the cards for him,
Yep.
but still planning on Drag Week, Redwood Rally, and Death Week. So those are still
Yep.
going to be some good events.
Well, and that's exciting. And dude, he lives in California, so I would imagine he was one of the first in line for Redwood Rally and Death Week. But I'm excited to see him again at Drag Week as well. Well, guys, you know how we do this. We put this thing on from our lovely sponsors. So let's thank Molly Motorsports with the ad play now.
Molly Motorsports is the official piston of DragAndDrive.com. Molly's Power Pack piston is the perfect candidate for your drag and drive car. Molly Motorsports competes in drag and drive events and supports our community. Project manager Eric Grillo raced a 10-second stick shift Nova at Hot Rod Drag Week 2022. He's also competed in Rocky Mountain Race Week last year with his C10 truck. Visit mollymotorsports.com for the most recent line of products.
Awesome. Love our friends at Molly. We'll actually have them on in the next couple of weeks. I've been talking to Eric about that. I don't remember if he's racing in 1.0 or 2.0, but we'll find out once we have him on. And guys, before we bring on Mick, we want to talk about the gentleman's agreement. That is, while this live stream is free and podcast is free for you to watch, doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's not free for us to produce. We spend hours every week researching, finding pictures. I think I spend more time finding pictures than I do writing topics for the show, but we bring that to you. Part of the gentleman's agreement is that we will keep providing that kind of content, but in exchange, you guys will hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done it here, make sure you are following us. We obviously can't check that you are doing that, and we won't ever call you out for not doing it. But guys, we're going to keep up our end. If you'll keep up your end, we would certainly appreciate it. Dude, let's get into our guest tonight.
I'm super excited.
I'm excited to have him. We're going to start a new game next week where we're going to see how many times Michael Nark says excited. If you don't know, he is the host of the Road Trip Drag Challenge. They have 3 of these a year. This dude is an animal. I cannot imagine putting on that many events per year, especially in what sounds like is maybe a little bit harder regulations than what we are used to here in the States for his racers. So let's bring in Mick and we'll get this thing started. He is at the track because you guys kick off your event tomorrow because you're actually in the future, right?
Absolutely. We're 24 hours, just under 24 hours, and we're away.
Man, that's crazy. So it is 10 a.m., pretty close there, 10:30 now, I guess, your time. So that's pretty awesome. You guys will actually kick off. So you're already at the track. Are you getting set up for the events and stuff for the weekend?
Yeah, I've been here for the last 2 days, setting up all the bits and pieces that we set up for flags and bits and pieces for our sponsors, merch marquees, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's been busy.
That's awesome. Well, there's a lot to cover here. We want folks first off to know where to find you. Where can they follow all the events that are coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so if they're keen to on Facebook, the Road Trip Drag Challenges 2023 is the main source of information for us. We also have the website of addictiveevents.com to find out information, links and photos and videos and bits and pieces on there as well.
That's awesome. Well, you guys have been doing this for a while, and I was trying to go back and get a bunch of historical stuff and see all the things, but man, you post so much that it's you're kind of like us, like you're overrun with it. So walk us through kind of how long you've been doing this and how it got started.
So originally I worked at a circuit racing track up on the north side of the area where we're at in Brisbane. And there wasn't anywhere up there for guys to do any social drag racing. Their closest track being some hour and a half plus hours away.
Yeah.
At the same time, I tried to get a pay rise out of my boss, and he wasn't too keen. So he said, if I can put this together, I can get a cut. So that's how it started. It's just a circuit racing, so full no prep. It was only 8th mile done on the front straight at Lakeside Park.
Nice.
And it kicked off very small. I think our first event, we had 24 cars came along. But then over growing it, we ended up selling that out at 100 cars per event. But it was at one of them events where a guy came up to me and said, hey, man, would you be able to put something together where we could do some multiple tracks? And why not? So from there, it was born 10 months later after putting it all together. We did our first event, 2016, November 2016, using the track I'm at now, Willowbank Raceway. Then we also went to Warwick Dragway, which is about an hour or so from here, from where we are. And then for the third day, we went back to the no prep track at circuit track at Lakeside and finished the event there.
Very cool. Yeah, that's
34 cars.
I was say that makes for street cars. If you go to 3 different tracks, then they got to get back to they either got to get to their truck and trailer, they got to drive home.
That's exactly right. So it was pretty good. And look, 34 cars, as you guys would know, being around the game, it doesn't pay bills, it doesn't pay track eyes, it doesn't pay anything. But we stuck with it, and here we are today. It's huge.
So how many people are signed up for this weekend's event?
So 270 cars for this weekend. Which is good. I mean, this is obviously our highest number. Our previous one in November last year, we had 232 cars. And we're sort of testing the waters because I think we're at our limit with 270. We need to make sure people get plenty of runs and all that sort of stuff.
And that is a little bit of the struggle because we're not elimination style racers. So it's not like that number starts at 270 in the morning and by the end of the day you're racing 30 cars. It's like you start at 270, you may end up at 250, so
yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the way we do it to make sure that everybody gets plenty of track time is because we are purely a social event. That's what it is. We split everybody into 2 groups. So to kick off tomorrow morning, we will have one group because we're only running this event at one track for all 3 days. Mm-hmm. We have to do things different. So while group 1 will go on track tomorrow for the first couple of hours, we'll send group 2 and they'll go and do a road course. The road course is about this year, about the first day is about an hour and a half round trip, where they'll head to a certain checkpoint. We will have somebody there that will check them off and give them what we call proof of checkpoint.
Hey, okay, so I'm an idiot if people don't know that. So when you said road course, I was thinking you were like at a dual track, like you had like an actual road course.
No.
And I was like trying to figure it out. I'm like, man, these skinny tires, they're out there trying to make turns. Yeah, okay. Now I'm picking up what you're saying. Yeah, they're out on the street.
We're on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got a street course, I should say.
Yeah.
To go and complete. Then once they've done theirs, we swap them over. Group 2 will go on track, and Group 1 will head out and go and do their road course.
How cool. So that's really neat because then whoever you're passing, that's why these events are going to be, they're going to blow up for you guys, is because there's going to be a burst of people. And then all those people are going to be like, man, those are some cool cars. And then several hours later, there's going to be another burst of cars come by them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you do both morning and night racing, or is it just one or the other?
No, come about 6 o'clock. It's time for a beer. That's for Friday. So Friday. So tomorrow we'll be on track from 10 a.m. right through until about 4:30 in the afternoon. Then after that, we'll have a little break, and then we've got the introduction of a new little game. We like to play games for people. So it's the 650 shootout. So the track that we're running out now, because most of them are street registered, they're not allowed to go any quicker than 637 over the 8th. So we set a limit for them guys that we won't accept a slip for points, anything quicker than 650 over the 8th. So the game we're going to play is if you can qualify tomorrow during the day between 10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. between 650 and 660, that'll let you qualify to go into our 650 shootout only for them guys. And we've got some cash up for grabs, and that'll be a heads up eliminator.
Oh wow, so that's pretty fun. So when you say they're limited to 637, what does that mean? Like a government regulation, like street cars can't go faster?
So where you guys have your NHRA restrictions over there, we have IHRA here in Australia, and it limits any car that does not have all the gear, cages, and all the rest of the stuff. So the majority of our cars are daily drivers and tough streeters. Out of our 270 entrants for this weekend, we only have 40 cars that are fully teched, caged, chutes, seats, harnesses, the whole lot. The rest of them are your general lap sash, seatbelt, and your daily driver. So, and obviously a mix of a lot of tough street cars in there as well.
Yeah.
When I say daily drivers, they're up to 1,300 horsepower. So that's the restriction on here. So if you go any quicker here, they will talk to you and advise you to back off. And if you don't, they will take your wristband and say, sorry, guys, it's not safe enough for us here.
Yeah. So that's Friday. And then what do you got going on Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, so Saturday we kick off again at 10 a.m. We swap the groups around. So Group 2 will go on track first. Group 1 will do their road course. Sorry about the noise, guys, if you can hear it around me. The guys are cleaning up the place, getting it all whippersnipped and pretty for us. So Saturday runs exactly the same. So on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, all of our entrants are just chasing one slip. So within the class that you're in, you're chasing a slip basically that's as close to 650 as you can get for the untech guys, and obviously the tech guys can go as fast as they want. So over the Friday, everybody will chase just one slip. They will submit that time along with the checkpoint proof that they got from their road from their street course to get points for that day. So we do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Saturday afternoon at about 5 o'clock, we shut down again for a dial your own competition. So it's open to all of our entrants. We have QCL Group is our naming rights sponsor for the Dial Your Own Challenge on Saturday night. They've put up $3,000.
Wow.
It's a heads up. We run the heads up component. So obviously elimination, we knock everybody out until we get to about, I'll say 15 or 20 cars. Once we're down to 15 or 20 cars, that's when we start to add a little bit more fun to the event. We'll get everybody out of their cars, and I will give everybody one peg, literally your clothes peg off your clothesline at home. That peg represents a lifeline for them. So from here on out, they have one life. If they lose in a round, they can bring that peg back to me, along with a $20 note attached to it that goes in the bucket. That runs all the way through. Obviously, first place gets $3,000. Second place will take the money in the bucket.
Oh, nice. The buybacks.
Cool. Yes, just one buyback. Yep. That's it. But we only do it, obviously, when we get down to 20 cars because it'll take forever if we do that with 200 cars. So while that's going on, it's not compulsory. People have generally had enough runs by then. We'll put the beers up on the hill. The guys will either go up on the hill and have the beers on us, or they'll take part in this. It's a great little bit of fun. That's for sure.
Nice. Yeah, so your guys are definitely getting a ton of passes where for the drag and drive section, they may be one and done for their time if they're happy with it. But then if they want to get in on some extra stuff, they're racing Friday night and again Saturday night. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's what we try to give the guys because it is a social event. There's guys that want to throw some different tunes at their cars and all that sort of stuff. And the more track time we can give them, the more it is for them. It's what we've found that's helped grow the event. And rules from our side of things are pretty relaxed. Obviously, we're safety's first. That's just a given. But when it comes to that sort of stuff, if you've had enough for the day and you want to submit your time and go and kick back and have a beer, that's fine by me. We don't have an issue with that. Just don't bring your car back down the lane.
Yeah.
Saturday night after the Dial Your Own competition, we then host a big dinner. Obviously, dinner and put the drinks on for an entrant and their 2 crew. So if you're a crew member, you get to be a part of the dinner and drinks and everything. It's all a part of the entry.
Yep.
And we also do an update of where we're up to. So we'll do a big presentation for different things. So we have, to add to the social element, we have trophies for things like the first guy to the esky. So we keep an eye on who was the guy that cracked that esky. Our esky, just to give you an idea, is about 7 feet long. It's 2 foot wide, 2 foot high. I could probably fit both of you guys in there without touching each other. Holds, I think, 40 cartons of beer.
Wow.
So it gets warm over here. It gets warm.
Yeah, if the weather's warm, we need cold beer.
Absolutely. So, and the presentation, like I say, it's all for different things, not just car things. And then we also do a raffle, just a bit of a raffle. So every entrant in their gift bag, because everybody gets a gift bag with a shirt and the likes, we put a stubby cooler in there. That cooler's got a number on it. Randomly, we just draw them out, and you can bring anything from alcohol. We've got a split system air conditioner that somebody's donated. All different prizes. Tom Bailey has actually got a guy over here, and they've donated some of the SICK mags for us to give away as well.
Yep. I saw you post on that, a couple stickers, things like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about your checkpoints and stuff now. Will the guys make the same? So group 1 and 2 Friday will probably go to the same checkpoint, I would imagine.
Yep.
But what about for Saturday and Sunday? Is it do you have different checkpoints? Same thing. What do you get?
No, totally different checkpoint, different location. And the guys for the checkpoint, they don't get notified of the first group. Don't get the notification of where they're going to until after the driver's briefing. And the second group don't get theirs until they come off track at midday.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah, two different locations for Friday and Saturday. We don't do one on Sunday. Saturday, with everything that we do, and Saturday night, it turns out to be quite a big day. So we basically, a lot of people, that's when you get your one and dones. They'll come down the lane Sunday morning. They'll put a pass down. They'll hand their slip in. There's no road course or street course on Sunday. They pack her up and they head for the hills.
That's awesome. Well, what's it cost for racers to enjoy all that fun?
Yeah, so our entries are $525, which over there in America is probably $300. And that gives you everything for you and 2 crew. So that's your gift bag with your shirt, and that's we put a sausage sizzle on Friday night. That's a BYO drinks. Saturday night's obviously the drinks and all the food. When I say the dinner on Saturday night, we do roast pork. We have creamy chicken mustard chicken, and obviously an array of salads and all that sort of stuff that some people like.
Yeah, sounds
so
like
it's a big feat.
Party, man. That's awesome.
We do. Yeah, we'll be partying in the staging lanes. That's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, that's not a bad price for everything that you give them, guys, and their 2 crew members. So that's pretty cool.
It is. We try to look after them. We put water in the lanes and all that sort of stuff. So that's free for any of the drivers and their crew, because here we're in winter time now, so it's not too bad. But the days are still warm. We'll be 25 degrees Celsius this weekend. But in summer we can be 45 degrees. I'm not too sure what that works out to be in
that's hot,
but it's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
So we make sure we just look after people. That's what people want. We don't focus too much on the spectator. All of our energy goes into the racer.
Yeah.
Very cool. So do you guys get a lot of spectators that come out then as well?
We do. It varies. We've never really pushed the spectator side of things purely because it's trying to grow the sport. So the more people we can get in the gate to come and see what we do, the more chance of them of pulling their bum off the hill and putting them in a seat.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest focus, and that's working for us. That's why this year we got 3 events.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you guys are animals for sure.
So it's a tough gig. It's only so Addictive Events consists of myself. I'm full time. My wife, she helps me at the events and bits and pieces, and our kids give us a hand on the weekends when we do the events.
Yeah,
we try to keep it small. It's all family based, but I can tell you it's busy and it's a full time gig putting 3 events together.
Yeah, I host one here in the States. It's a weekend event, and it's all I want. I can't imagine putting 3 together. So that's impressive. And having a spouse that helps is a big deal. Mine put in so many times, and she doesn't know anything about racing, but she's in there inputting ETs and mile per hour. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, without my wife, we wouldn't be where we are. Purely when COVID hit, we had to make the decision. Everybody in Australia were cancelling their events. Yeah. We had to make the decision do we follow everybody else and cancel, or can we come out on top here? And if it works, it works. So we risked our house basically to be able to do it. I had to quit my job purely because the paperwork required to hold an event here during COVID was ridiculous.
Oh,
so
you guys were on. It was hardcore for y'all.
Yeah, so it's I appreciate everything that she does for us, and like I say, without her pumping away at her job full time, there's no way we could afford to have done it. Simple as that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how strict the local police are with your vehicle regulations.
Okay, so I reckon if any one of the cars that you guys have running over there in the States turned up here, they get 5 minutes down the road and the coppers would have it. The regulations here, to give you an example, you can't have anything hanging out of the bonnet for a start. It's just not allowed. Unless it came out factory, it's not allowed. The minimum height underneath your car has to be 100 millimeters. So they will literally
4 inches for everybody here in the
States.
Yeah,
4 inches. Sorry.
That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. Obviously, it has to be full glass cars. We don't have any chassis cars or anything like that. None of that sort of stuff in the event. Firewalls are generally in the same spot. There's a few guys that might make a few mods, but even a pod filter, they're not allowed. Stuff like that.
What?
It's yep. I am not kidding you. The stuff like that. I mean, the guys that obviously come that are modified, but they do it the right way. You have to. Over here, some of the laws are strict. If you get caught doing some stuff in a car that shouldn't be on the street, they'll crush it. They will literally take your car and they will go and put it in the crusher.
Wow.
I can't imagine.
So that's why, I mean, our event, it's only open to street registered vehicles. Mm-hmm. That's the way it has to be. And everybody knows that they've got to drive on the road. So it's the emphasis put on the racer to make sure that he's happy to take it on the road.
Yeah.
We've never really had any issues. It's all been really good. The guys are great. They they just cruise to where they've got to go, turn around and cruise back. We've had the police turn up at some checkpoints, and they've been pretty cool. We don't advertise what we're doing or anything like that to them guys, but we haven't had any issues. Yeah. We just roll with the punches, and they're pretty good.
Well, and what we found, obviously here we're a little more laid back. I'm in Arkansas, which is way laid back. We don't even have a monthly or yearly where you have to go in for a smog test or anything. But what we found is that generally the police officers they'll kind of give you a thumbs up, or they'll just kind of look the other way as you drive on by, as long as you're being, you're not being rowdy or something like that. So I'm sure it's probably the same a little bit over there, as long as you're acting right, they're okay. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's what it comes down to. It all comes down to attitude, and like I say, we've got great bunch of guys that have been coming to our events and whatnot. And that's what's grown the event. Is we might have started out small, but it's grown purely on the guy coming, bringing his 2 crew, and then his 2 crew next time they come along and they're entered. They bring 2 more guys. That's why now we sell out. Like it's these are sell out events.
That's great.
Yeah. So
do you guys does anybody pull trailers at all?
So the rules that we have here is you can arrive on a trailer for the event, and you can take it home on a trailer. But there's no towing.
Yeah, he's talking about with the car. Like, is there like drag and drive trailer? Do they hook up that trailer in the race car?
Yeah, so you don't have to. If people want to, no problem. But no, we don't have to. Once we've got guys that will start coming in today and set up, they don't have to pack all their stuff and take it with them on the road courses. We are not that deadly serious in regards to that side of things. Obviously, you can't tow your car and all that sort of stuff during the event. But when it comes to packing all your stuff up, it's more of a pain in the neck for guys, especially if you're coming back to the same place. It's a bit of a, I could see it would just open for a bit of cheatery where somebody goes, oh no, that's not my campsite. And I've just put stuff over there. So it's a path not worth venturing.
Yeah.
And I guess for us, that. And I guess for us, maybe our cars are overly modified where we have to worry about things breaking on those cruises. And that's probably more why we have tons of stuff packed in trailers.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
And, a lot of times, like even the circuit, there's, we race at one track. So it's race Friday. We made a big loop and then raced again Sunday. And so, people didn't have to, but we wanted those new people that are coming into the sport to kind of have that feeling of like, hey, if I was going to another drag strip for Saturday, what would I need to take with me? So we made them load up like they were going to be racing at a different track, which we will be for 2024. But well, let's talk about your events, because obviously we talked about you putting on 3 events. When are they? What tracks are you hitting? All that kind of stuff. Uh-oh. We lost your audio. There we go.
Back again?
Yep, we're back.
Okay. So I won't touch nothing. I didn't think I did anyway. This weekend we're at Willowbank Raceway at Willowbank in Queensland. All of our events are in Queensland. From here in about 8 weeks' time, July 14 to 16, we will be at Palmyra Dragway in Mackay. So that's a bit further north. For us, it's about 12 hours drive from here. So it's only a new event that kicked off last year, was our first event. So we had nearly 80 entries, I think 79 entries for the first event up there. So we're shaping up and hoping for about 125. And we're getting the guys from down here that are going up there as well. So they're telling me. So that should be good supported. Not just locally up there, but from around the place as well. Mm-hmm. And then our third event. So I've got a couple of dates sort of booked in. First one is, I think it's 10, 11, 12 of November at Warwick Dragway. It's they've been undergoing refurbs for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, they've had some terrible runs with the weather. They're actually extending. They were an 8th mile track. And they've got a bit of government assistance to help them get to full quarter mile. So it all depends on whether they are ready to go for that date, which we'd love to get back to. It's an awesome local track, country track, great people, and everybody's dying to get back up there and support them guys. And then if that doesn't come to plan, we are hoping, if that does come to plan, we have a date booked in to be back here again at Willowbank. I think it's the following weekend or fortnight later.
Nice. So for folks to understand, like November for you guys is summertime, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's warm down there when you're racing in November, which is completely opposite. It'll be snowing on Eric. It won't be snowing on me, but it'll be snowing on Eric in November.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's hot here in November. That's for sure. It's cooking. There's no snow for Christmas here.
So, what are you most excited about for this weekend and the event?
I reckon for this event we've got some guys that have been really bordering on that 4-second pass over the 8th. All of our events are only 8th mile.
Mhm.
So out of a registered street car, to break into that 4 seconds over the 8th mile. Remember, there's no slicks in our event. These are all radials. So yeah, it's going to happen this weekend. For sure, I reckon we've got probably at least half a dozen contenders, which grew from about 2 or 3 once you put it out there that, hey, guys, I'm going to put up some cash and a nice trophy for the first guy that does a 4-second pass.
Yeah.
So that brought a few people, had some engines out down to the engine builders for a few tweaks, I think, which is good. We're excited. We've got some great guys that are commentating for us this weekend. Chris Diggles and Kerry Digney, a couple of legends in the sport down here, and obviously they'll be going through our live feeds. So it'll be great, getting the sport out to the people.
Yeah.
Through our live stream, opening the gate to spectators for free. Can only be good. For me, I'm excited for people to come down and have some more fun. That's what we do, and that's what we're known for.
Right.
We don't take any crap. We're just here for fun.
Well, and just while you're talking about the live stream, we do have those links in the description of all the YouTube channels. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can find all the links to those there as well. And but tell everybody where those will be, like what the channel name is again.
Yeah, so through YouTube, Overtaking Lane. Overtaking Lane. Them guys do a great job. They come to all our events, and their work is second to none. And they're not to mention they don't only do that; they're also a part of the event. They come and hop in some cars as well. So they'll bring their own cars to come and have a bit of fun with us as well. We try to make sure everybody's involved in the event.
Yeah,
that's cool. So how many classes do you have?
Yeah, okay. So we run our classes. I think we've got 13 classes in total.
Okay.
So classes are based on tyre width and type. So if you've got a sticky tyre, anything with a tread wear of 140 or under, there's a class. So it's basically for us, it's 275, what we call 275 millimetre, and over is a class. And then there's obviously an ASPO and a blown class for that. And then we sneak down to up to 265. Then we have a 235 class. And then we've also introduced, we've split up our manual class. So we've got a manual blown and a manual aspirated class as well. And then our biggest field is the dial your own class.
Yeah, I think as we see the growth in the sport, I think we're going to see a lot of folks kind of gravitate towards that style of class instead of just running like a straight up index, like an 00 index or a 50, a 50 index or something like that, simply because it allows, I always say that bracket racers that's our next group that we can chase, because those guys know that their car runs a 1274 in the quarter mile, like they know it does that. Well, do they slow it down to go into 13.0 index, or do they speed it up way faster and take a hit at it to go 12.0? So I think we're going to see a lot of dial your own type stuff. Of your classes, which is your favorite?
Gee, that's a good call. That's a good call. I suppose I've got some guys and some sponsors that are in our 235 blown and the ASPO class as well. With it coming down, with putting that limit of nothing quicker than 650 on a time card, that's come for some real tight racing. It's crazy on how tight that stuff is. Yeah. Hence why we did the 650 shootout, because somebody likes to stand on the top, so we'll make them famous on Friday night. But yeah, I'd say the 235 class honestly it's a good mix of trying to get big power. We've got some guys with some big power. Trying to put a 235. We've got a little KE20 I'm pretty sure he's actually in tech, but he runs on a 235 tyre. But it's well over 1,000 horsepower on a radial.
Jeez.
So yeah. And I mean, the big guys are good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching. Not that I get to see a lot. I don't actually get to see a lot of passes over the weekend. But yeah, for me, it's great to see the mix of cars that we have, from your stock standard 90 horsepower 4-cylinder car that's got a 17-year-old in it that has never been to the drag strip before, lined up against a supercharged V8 pushing 1,200 horsepower, and they can actually line up against each other and race each other.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff I enjoy, is seeing the new people, and then obviously them coming back the next year and the next year, knowing that you've done the right thing.
Yep.
That's cool. So how many racers do you think are going to compete in all 3 of your events?
So we hold something we introduced last year when we decided to do 3 rounds. We decided to do our own little grand champion. So as a part of the grand champion, everybody, the winner out of each class for us can get a maximum of 200 points each day at the event. So 600 total is the maximum that anyone can get. So as a part of the grand champion, you have to be in the running, you have to do all 3. Last year, we only had about 7 guys, obviously taking a week off to do this event, because guys will turn up today and then they won't go back to work until probably Tuesday. It's a big weekend. And trying to do that 3 weeks of the year, especially, 12 hours up, so you've got to allow even more time. The guys have got to, you got to get that past the misses as well. So it's not an easy task.
Yeah, I was going to say, having 7 cover that's a bunch. I'll say that's a lot.
Yeah, this year I expect it's growing. There's a lot of people that have told me they're out for the grand champion. So I'm hoping for 20, if we can get 20 that do across all 3. The rules are you can change cars and classes between events if you want, because you're still in it for the points no matter what. So it doesn't matter what car or class you're in. So you can change it between events, just not at the event.
Yep. And I think to talk about Eric's question too a little bit more there, if you have 250 people per event, let's say as an average, that's 750 people that will attend these events across the year. So that's pretty awesome, man. Congratulations. What does the grand champion, what do they win?
So we have a custom built. I don't have it with me. It's actually still getting coded. So it's like a bigger version of a custom made gear timing set that somebody has manufactured for us. And the bragging rights to stir everybody up. That's what they get. That's what they get.
Yeah.
Do you offer any early registration for people from the first event when they register for your second and third events?
We haven't. It's sort of been. We have worked on a first in best dress type scenario. However, I'm the type of guy that always makes sure that I look after the people that look after us.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to leave a sponsor hanging out without a spot. That's just a given. And also, people, if they've been coming and supporting us for the last, 3 years or so, I'll find them a spot. That's just what we do. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't guarantee that. I mean, the sponsor one I can guarantee, because chances are they'll pull their sponsorship. So the sponsorship spot I can always guarantee. But the other ones you can't guarantee. So it is first in best dressed as the general rule.
That's awesome. Well, I saw a post the other day that was a bourbon run challenge. What's the bourbon run? Because I'm in on this. This kind of stuff. It's up my alley right here.
Okay, so the bourbon run originated about 3 or 4 years ago now. It was originally called the bus run. A sponsor came to me. He's got a charter, a little charter bus business, buses that hold about 20 people, I suppose, the smaller ones that people turn into motorhomes. And he wanted to sponsor the event, but we weren't sure how to do it. So we come up with the idea of, well, let's doing the briefing on Friday morning, let's turn off all the time boards and everything else, and let's send the bus down the track and see what time it sets. So I think the first, it was like a 16.5 or something or other. It did over the eighth. Eighth mile. And then so then that slip comes back to me, so it gets printed up in the tower. They bring that down to me, and then I'll tell people, okay, because everybody wanted to know. I asked for questions at the end of it, and this guy on the bus with a helmet on pulled up behind me, and I'd actually forgot about it. And the guys go, what's to go with the bloody bus that just went down the strip? I said, oh, that's right. So if you can get as close to the bus time without going quicker than it, we'll give you a great big bottle of bourbon. So that's how it started. So we give them a guide. It might be if the bus did 16.5, we might give them a guide between 15 and 18 seconds. They then bring so people do it. They will actually see. I've seen some big 5-second cars try and replicate like a 16-second pass. It's funny, especially when they're on the line on the two-step and all this sort of stuff, and then they poke off and roll down. It's funny stuff. And then on the Saturday night, as a part of the dinner and presentation and drinks, we basically wheel them down to find out who got closest. And yeah, these are limited edition, numbered, cradled bottles of Jack Daniels.
Wow.
I think they're half gallon in your guys' terms, thereabouts.
Yeah. That's great,
cool.
man. Talk about a fun time. It sounds like you keep saying social event. I think that sums up exactly what you're doing. Well, one thing that a guy like you that has as much experience, we always want to know, what are some tips or things like that you'd be willing to give up for some other hosts or promoters of events?
You got to for us, the biggest thing that we look at, or for anybody trying to get into the game, to grow the game, is don't limit your market. There's no point. I don't know how it works in the States over there and what cars you get to all your events. But for us, my target market is any registered car in the area. All you need to have is a license and a street registered car, and you're my target market.
That opens it up.
It does, and this is where you were saying there before about the bracket racing and stuff like that. Open it up. I'll have a Barina that'll run 12 seconds on the 8th this weekend, and it'll be pedalled by a 17-year-old girl that's never been here before. And that's the next generation of races. Where they go to from there, whether they decide to stay in that stock standard car and come to our events, or whether they just step it up and go into other competitions that and events that are run, that's for them to decide. But if I can give them the leg up here to start, that's what will grow your sport. Make it a family. I've got guys that are drag racers that come to our events in their drag cars, cage and all that sort of stuff, still street registered. But they're now bringing their kids, and their kids are in, their daily drivers. Let's send them down the track because they realise what we do. It's fun, it's safe, and we take the time. A lot of people are very nervous at going to racetracks. The big belief is that you got to have a race car to go on a racetrack. That's wrong. You don't need a race car to go on a racetrack. So any car will go down this strip behind me. That's the biggest thing is look at your market, and everybody out there can be a potential guy to get a bum in a seat and head down the strip. You've just got to make sure you're looking after them. I'll walk people through, how the lights work and all that sort of stuff. I will, if I've got a first timer and they're nervous, I'll shut down the other lane. I will let them do a solo pass on their own. I've got a golf buggy before the event. If they're not on track, I'll run them down, show them this is where you come off, this is where you get slip. Because it's only that stuff that they're nervous about.
Yep.
Yeah. They're not nervous about anything else. So that's what we've done.
They're excited to hold their foot down for an eighth of a mile.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing, education is key. I know that, and making sure they know where the finish line is. We have had here a long time ago a story. I wasn't here, but I have heard the story where someone was I think it was somebody's wife, was here on the start line, and first time ever. And she asked her husband, who was a drag racer, as to what to do, and he said, just hold it flat all the way. I think she was still on the gas. She was in the gravel down the far end, and she was still flat to the boards.
Yeah, she's like, I did what you said.
Yeah, that's right. So education is key, and making sure you're looking after the next lot of generation racers that's coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as we kind of wind down here, is there anybody that's a longtime participant or sponsor that you kind of want to give a shout out to?
Absolutely. Look, our naming right sponsor is Absolute Lifting and Safety. Steve Smith has been with us now, I think, for about 6 years. Even though his business doesn't really generate anything, he's one of these guys that just likes to support our event. He comes to every event of ours. He gets involved in the fancy dress, so we also do a fancy dress on a Saturday night too for a bit of fun. Peter Gatwood, he's one of our entrants. I think he's been to every event.
Wow.
He's found a car, whether he's been broken or not. He's found a car and been at every event. I think he's the only guy.
Wow.
But look, we've got some great sponsors behind us. All of our sponsors are relatively only small. We don't have any big sponsors or any of that sort of stuff. But the guys that we do have are a part of the racing community. If they're not racing, they're definitely here, watching and supporting and all that sort of stuff. The list is too long for me to go through. They know who they are. I do thank them. I would hate to go through the list and forget someone. So look at all the guys that do support us, and a big shout out to the tracks as well. Willowbank here, where we are this weekend, they do a great job. They look after us quite well. Palmyra, like I say, a new track where we went up there last year. Awesome crew, awesome track. Again, another little rural track. Used to be, I think it was, they used to grow corn up there, but it was no good for that, so they pushed that out and they built a track 40 years ago.
Nice.
And the guys at Warwick Dragway, we haven't got enough love for them all. It's awesome the job that they do for us. And we highly appreciate that they let us do what we do. We do things a little bit differently. And obviously they work with us to bring out the product that we produce.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, I know we have a little bit of time before number 2. We've got what? About
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
8.
So
I would say 6.
Yeah, 51 days. So yeah, 6.5 weeks. So here's what we'd like to do. Eric and I have been messaging back and forth here, kind of behind the scenes. We would love to offer you guys some merch, some Drag and Drive Addiction merch. I'll put it in an envelope. I'll email you after this and get the address, and we'll send you some stuff over for, I don't know, a raffle item or something like that for the event number 2 this year. So
awesome. No, that'll be great. And in turn, send me some shirt sizes, guys. We'll send you over a bit of gear.
Oh man, now we're talking. Now I like it. Well, Mick, I want to say thanks again. Tell everybody where they can find the live streams this weekend, and then where they can find more information about your events. Yeah.
So for information on the events, Facebook is the Road Trip Drag Challenges 2023. Our website addictiveevents.com, and for the live streams, YouTube Overtaking Lane.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for sticking it out this morning. You messaged us. It was like 5 o'clock your time. You're like, hey, I think you guys gave me a wrong timeline here, and we had. So I want to say thanks again for hanging with us on that, and good luck this weekend, man. I'm excited for you. You and I'll be messaging back and forth quite a bit, because I want to keep all of our listeners and followers updated on times and cars breaking and cars making record passes and things like that. So we'll be messaging. I'll be watching the pages and all that kind of stuff, and I'll watch as much of the live stream as I can to keep everybody updated there as well. So thanks again, man.
Excellent, guys. Thanks for having me on the show, and great to be a part of the Drag and Drive Addiction Show. Awesome.
Hey, Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You.
See you.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Dude, what a fun thing. I mean, and hey, listen, I've hosted an event. I can't imagine hosting 3. That would be very, very hard. What a fun deal for him. That's That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed the smile that I've had the whole time. I mean, it's very cool to see and hear how things are done outside of, what
Yeah.
we know. So it was very cool.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I think people need to understand is, I mean, when he's talking about having like a street car like that, that is the struggle that those guys run into. That's why a lot of their cars look like factory cars. There's not pro mods driving on the street. There's not stuff with turbos out of the hood and fender exit exhaust. For a lot of that stuff, I'm sure there's some guys that skirt the sideline there, but really for a lot of that, there's not, because just like you said, they'll get crushed.
Dude, I couldn't imagine.
Oh man, that's a good way for somebody to die. Well, as we lead into the next segment, guys, I want to say thanks again to all of our sponsors. Thanks again to you for watching this long. We appreciate you guys being in here and hanging out with us while we had him on. And if we'll ask just one last favor to hit the share button as we come into the last few minutes. You're probably the last 15 minutes of the show here.
Yep. So our next section here is our Found on Racing Junk. So for this week, we have our first car is a 2002 Trans Am drag car for $28,500. This is in Parker, Colorado. It's a 02. It's a Super Street Super Pro 582 with a Power Glide, 14-to-1 roller cam, Dart Pro 1 heads, single 1150 carb, 550 stall, full racing chassis, 9-inch rear end. So kind of scroll through some of these pictures here. This looks like a pretty wicked car.
I was gonna say, I really dug the color on this one, and for $28,000, I feel like that's kind of a deal. Again, that racing junk is hard because, man, like I'll end up, I'm like, it's not too bad. What could I sell to gather some stuff up? I'm not really an A guy, but that car is kind of cool.
Yep, it does say it runs 930 at 142 in the high altitude of Denver, Colorado. No power adders, but it does say here turnkey was 33. I'm guessing that they came down on the price a little bit. So
yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, look at what you're getting for that price. I don't think that's a bad deal at all.
Yeah, I mean, running 9s in Denver. I mean, what's that car like? Is that a high 8-second car in good altitude? Somebody can probably tell us in the comments, but I don't know. I don't know what 930s at Denver mean. All I understand at Denver is that it takes a long time for turbos to spool.
Right.
That's all I understand about Denver.
So that's our first car. Our second one here is a 1965 Dodge Corvette tube chassis drag car for $15,000. This is in Missouri.
Kind of between us, man, that we could race to get there for that one.
Looks like it's got a video for it, which we won't play, but you guys can check that out. 440 hardtop tube chassis, no title, not street legal. So that's the only downfall on this one, is we can't make it a drag car.
Didn't see that. How the heck? Now listen, we can find a VIN number.
So we'll scroll through a couple pictures here, but I mean, yeah, there's ways around that stuff, right?
Yeah, surely. I mean, it's not that much of a, like, if it's got headlight areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 1 gallon cell hanging out the front. That's perfect.
Yep. It is a pretty cool looking car though, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely dig that old body style, and looks like, I'm guessing it's a bracket car because I see the number or the time card up there in the front window. So those are our 2 vehicles for this week's Found on Racing Junk.
And again, racingjunk.com is our classifieds for Drag and Drive Addiction. We don't want to run a page, for buy, sell, trade page. So we have partnered up with Racing Junk. You can find everything over there, racingjunk.com. I will warn you, you will spend hours in there pretty easy. That's what happens to me. Yep. So the last couple of weeks we've been going over some Drag and Drive Addiction Facebook group. If you're not a part of that group, you need to jump in there. And we have posted a post of the week, which was All Motor Monday and Turbo Tuesday. Well, we're changing it up a little bit this week. We are doing Trailer Thursday, so be looking for that in the morning. And obviously, Drag and Drive cars and drag and drive trailers. That's a big deal in our world. There's a lot of uniqueness and a lot of individuality that comes along with what you choose to tow with your drag car. I'm not going to say there's probably anybody that is credited to us seeing this except our buddy Chris Story at Chris Story Photo. Eric and I were going through some photos of the circuit the other day, came across, I don't even know, should we tell them who? I mean, it's Matt Coating's Camaro pulling a car, and Chris Story just absolutely snagged the shot, and you guys will see it first thing in the morning. I think Eric has it scheduled to post at 9 a.m. Eastern, I think. Is that right?
Yep. That's usually when I do it.
Yep. So it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm a fan of these posts of the week because it allows people to show off kind of what they have been building and what they are building, because as we lead into this craziness that we're talking about the next year, 13 events in 9 weeks it's going to be pretty wild. The content creation from here till the end of July is going to be nuts. Cause then, dude, that's just gets us to the end of July. We hadn't even started talking about September. Cause man,
yep. And then we got to start planning for PRI. So
yeah. For the Drag and Drive Award Show presented by Summit. I mean, we're throwing the bash this year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of cool stuff coming. So I hope everybody's as excited as we are.
Yep. Well, quick update for the news on Saturday. It's going to be a very short show. I will be on site at King of the Open Road, may even be in a car driving for the Drag and Drive news. So may just do a pit walk that morning around 7:30 a.m. Central, which would be 8:30 Eastern for everybody that's going to be watching, just because King of the Open Road is this weekend, and y'all, there's 200 cars registered for that event. So we should have plenty of stuff to talk about that morning and walking through the pits and things like that. Eric will not be live with us because his son is going to graduate high school, dude. How's that make you feel?
Old, and my youngest isn't far behind, so he's starting high school next year, so 4 years, and they'll both be graduated.
Man, you would be an empty nester, or at least you won't have to worry about getting them to school anymore. What are we going to do then, man? We're not going to talk about the big. There's going to be a big update June 2nd. We're going to talk about that'll change the way the channel is handled, and I think you guys are going to like it. So we're going to talk about that as we lead up to that again, June 2nd. You'll want to be here that Friday night. And then the Drag and Drive Show, episode number 22 next week, presented by our friends at Summit Racing. Y'all, we have Jared Holt and Javier of That Racing Channel. They are the hosts of King of the Open Road. We couldn't work it out because they were getting ready for the event this weekend. So they're going to be on next weekend talking about King of the Open Road recap. And we're going to recap the road trip drag challenge with Mick we just had. I don't know if we'll have him back on. I don't know what his schedule looks like after that, but I think it'd be a lot of fun. I will tell you, for King of the Open Road, we're going to have content surrounding Dustin Cottle and the unlovable Chevy Love Truck, and then kind of what it takes, like what does a race weekend look like for a drag and drive racer. This will be Dustin's fourth drag and drive event to do in 2023.
That's wild.
Insane. He's done Sick Week, he's done the circuit, he's done Cruise and Lose, and he's done he'll do King of the Open Road. He's running the 9.0 class this week against our teammate, dude. Who do we root for? Do we root for Dustin? Do we root for Alex? Can we root for both? I don't know.
Well, I guess if I were to quote your words, those are both some of our favorites.
Yeah. They each drive one of our favorite cars of Drag and Drive. So, well, y'all, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. It's going to be a busy week, man. We've got a ton of stuff coming. And then after this, like I said, man, 13 events in 9 weeks. It's about to get intense here with everybody. So thank you again, guys. I'll see you Saturday morning, and you won't see Eric's smiling face. You won't see it Saturday morning, but he'll be back next Wednesday night to talk about all the other stuff. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. See you guys.